Hello, everybody. This is your boy Levar, aka Ramzie, the editor-in-chief of Snub Magazine. Thank you so much to everybody that's joining us today on a special sit down. Today we have a very special guest. It's someone that many of you already know. However, you know how we do on the sit down. We do not introduce our guests. We let our guests introduce themselves. That's the little twist that we have. So I'm gonna let our guests come on and introduce themselves, and we'll go from there. You know how this goes. It's a conversation. It's not an interview.
Hello, everyone. I'm Levelle out of Kansas City, Kansas, and you get to sit down with me and experience my love journey.
All right, all right, all right. You already heard it, you guys. So this is dope. So one, thank you so much for joining us today on the sit down here at Snub. It's an honor and privilege to have you on here. Like I said before, I tell my guests all the time that it's not an interview. I like to make a conversation and make it more genuine.
Yeah,
We just have a good time. I don't want it to be.
absolutely.
We'll have a good time. I promise you. I promise you that much. All right.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right into it. So uh we know already about your success that's already, you're peaking to the top of things. Let's start off with, take it back to how it all began for you. Where did the passion of not just any type of music, because when you listen to the album, it's very soulful. I'm a southern boy, so it
All
takes
right.
me back. It takes me back to some things of some, like, where music was just had a lot of meaning to it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that journey for you. What was it, like, as a background for you?
Well, for myself, on my mom and dad's side, there's music
Mm,
there on both sides, and so as a kid, our household was full of music and instruments. So I actually was a drummer.
okay.
Um, but my uncles and on my dad's side and my uncles on my mom's side, they both sang in a group.
Okay.
So I enjoyed that as well as listening to, the greats such as the Charlie Wilsons and the
Mm,
OJs and the Frankie Beverleys and growing up listening to those type of guys. Really, Drill Levert, when I saw him perform, it was just like, man, I want to be like that one day. You know how he just left it all on the stage. So
yeah.
it kind of took me as a young person that I wanted to do this.
Definitely, definitely. And you've done some musical background for some names anyway. And that's, I tell people all the time, you don't know where people begin. And
Right.
and now where they're stepping into the platform of them being a solo artist. So can you speak on, like, where that began as well? Because I've seen you sing behind some greats already behind that. So actually your dream of doing so had already, you spoke it, you spoke it into existence.
That's, you know what, now that you say that, that's crazy. I can see that now. I didn't see it at first. And sometimes it take special interviews like this to help you bring back to your remembrance of how you even got that. Being that I did speak that at an early age, my first big shot was uh, I went out on a tour with the OJs and Howard Hewitt, and they had me opening up, and the OJs were, and I'm always trying to be creative when they come to a show and who I'm performing with.
Right.
So I wanted to. At that time, Gerald Levert was no longer with us, but I knew his dad was on the show, so I put in one of Gerald Levert's songs in my actual show. And so we're at the James Brown Arena in Augusta, Georgia. And man, I'm singing, and the crowd is going crazy, So I'm thinking I was really putting on the show. But to find out Eddie Levert, when I started singing ABC 1, 2, 3, you know, Eddie Levert came out of his dressing room, didn't even have shoes on. And I'm singing the song, and the people are just like, I'm like, what am I doing so special? Because I never looked back.
Right.
I'm just looking at the audience, and
Right.
the people are going like crazy. And I'm like, I've never felt this before. Like
Right.
I thought I was the
It's like
OJ.
you was killing it.
Yeah. I said, oh, I'm tearing it up. But to come to find out, um, Eddie Levert was on the side of the stage, and he came out and the people actually saw him. And he's sitting there with his arms folded and just like, so when I got done with the song, we kind of like hugged. Like it was almost like it was planned, but it was never planned. And from that point on, Eric Nolan Grant, other OJs, they put a group together. And at first I didn't think they would ever call me because going in this business, you get a lot of we got you, we need your number. So I didn't think they would call. The next week I got a call. I was in Cleveland cutting records, and we were supposed to be the baby OJs. But to have that experience working with them and them, Eric Nolan and them sewing so much into a group, that's where it really took off for me. But before taking off nationally like that, I was just performing and doing what I could in my hometown. And it kind of just spread it out where, you guys need to give this guy a shot. Because the passion for me was just getting on the stage. It was kind of backwards, but it wasn't about the money for me. Then it was just about being seen and sharing my gift. And so it was kind of like, we definitely got to let him do it. He's doing it for free,
right.
and number two, he really puts on a good show. So it kind of helped out. And then I just started circulating. The other promoters didn't know I was doing it for free. So that's how it just started, progressing. And, we could only do this, this, and this. And at the time I was covering everything. So it started working out. Before I know it, I was, performing with Fantasia. I was performing with Joe. I was performing with Charlie Wilson several times. I was performing with so many of your great artists, to where, I kept pushing. After so long, I did sound check and I left. I was on the show with Charlie Wilson. It was me, Charlie Wilson, and I want to say El DeBarge. Charlie, after my sound check, I left. I got a call from Charlie's security guard, and he says, Charlie want to meet with you. Are you still in the building? Of course, I'm doing 100 to get back to the venue.
I'm gonna be
right. So I go in there and I meet with him, and he said, Levelle, I've been watching you over the years. And he said, man, you got a gift and your voice is, like an angel. He says, I want to take you out on the road with me. And I'm like, blown away, like, is this really happening? Come to find out that next week, I started with him, didn't know all the words, no steps, no nothing. But that next week I was gone. 2019, I was touring the world with Charlie Wilson, background singing and lead singing with him. So it was just a blessing, And then went from that to, I had the opportunity to fill in with Blackstreet a couple times, done a lot of things with Frankie Beverly and Maze, did a lot of touring with them. So I've been blessed to be around some of the great artists that we have. Even Keith Sweat, man, that guy is, he's an amazing guy, So just to be around those guys and them, giving me a shot, it really has drove me to really pushing forward and doing what I can to be who I need to be in this industry.
Definitely. I want to step back to something you said that caught me was a lot of people don't understand a lot of times in the industry that we're in, they don't understand that you got to have a passion for this. This sometimes ain't all about money. The money sometimes don't even pop up until the end of certain things, or you don't even see it. You know what I'm saying? You're like, okay, well, do I keep going? And you keep pushing, but you got to have that passion for it. Because if you don't have that passion for it, it's not going to work for you. A lot of people chase, we talked about this on another sit down. We said a lot of people chase the fame. They don't understand when you're passionate about something, that's your baby. It's just like a baby. You feed it, you keep on, and it grows. And then it gets to a moment when it's like, okay, you got so many no's. Yeah, you've dealt with the little things. Now it's your moment now.
Right. And that's the key, and that's, for me, that was, I guess, my good odds that worked for me, because a lot of times, like you just said, in the industry now, we are visuals. We see, I can see like right now, and I'm like, man, I like this shirt this guy got on. Look at this chain, look at the hat, and so that may drive me to try to do that. But at the same time, I don't know the work you had to put in to create, who you are. And that's why we have to be careful on wanting to be like others and knowing that, like you said, if you don't have the passion for it, it's really, I wouldn't do it,
Right.
But for me, the passion and really what got me, man, was about 3 years ago. I was out driving and there was a lady. We have a lake here called Big 11 Lake.
Okay.
And it has a suck pump, so there's no bottom to it, and it just feeds out to the river. But this lady was so depressed, and she went through domestic violence, and she lost her kids. And a guy ran up to my car, and he said, "Man, I can't swim, but there's a lady over in this lake drowning." So immediately I put my car in park, left the car running. Seeing her going up and coming down, I jumped in. So I saved the lady. But when she actually got out the water, she was basically just saying that she was tired of living. She was stressed, and she lost her kids, and she was very depressed, and suicidal was just really in her mind. And she said something to me. She just said, my husband, he beat me so bad in front of my kids, and I lost my kids. And right then and there, it kind of touched me, because it was like, as men, we really have to get back to doing things a lot better, and for whoever your significant other is, we have to get back to a place of just loving each other, helping each other, and respecting each other, because at the end of the day, man, we all human, and we all need support and love, and I just feel like, for me, I just want to share love. It don't matter what color I am, what gender I am. I just love you. Today is our first day meeting, and I love you, brother. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing for me. I feel like when we can get back to that, we can really do some things collectively to help each other.
Definitely. And you brought up a certain word that's part of your sophomore album, which we are jumping right into on that. Promise to Love. I listen, it's one of those projects, an album that you can play from beginning to end, and there's a couple of songs on there that I was like, oh, these, you have sometimes where like, yeah, it's a project you can listen to all the way, but then you're like, these are my two songs right here.
Right.
So what was it like for you to put this sophomore album together? Like I said, it's for everybody that's listening. It is a project that's basically from beginning to end a masterpiece. So I got to congratulate you on that, because many people don't always have that. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Many people, you be like, all right, next, skip next.
Yeah.
Oh, I found one. But
Right.
yeah, like what was the project like, and the mindset of getting Promise to Love together?
Well, I think for me, my process and my thought process on putting a CD together is different. I kind of look at each song potential a single versus just a album filler. So I try to give my best, and every song on there is authentic. It's me. It's not something that, I don't know nothing about cows and horses. So I'm not going to sing about cows and horses, but I know my message that I'm trying to spread. So for me, I just look at everything that I'm doing. I just want it to be organic, and I want to sing about things that I truly believe in, and that's who I am. That's my character. So, my thought process was just be original and, really get back to what I'm standing for. And that's sometimes it's difficult, because in our time today, a lot of people can take the disrespect and the other kind of music versus me giving you your respect. So
I think that's deep what you said there, because a lot of people, That's how our platform was built. Our platform was for our community to be a positive media. We don't do the daily gossip. We don't do none of that.
Right,
It's just to keep our mind focused on that. And sometimes that's not the trending route. It's not the popular route that everybody wants us to do. The disrespect or
right.
and it gets hard sometimes. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, the end goal, I know what I did for it. No one can ever say that we stepped into a room and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But doors
Right,
open up now a certain
right.
way. So by you putting out that, and then you got to remember too, it still becomes personal. I think that's
Absolutely.
another thing. It becomes personal because it's like I want to put positive stuff into the atmosphere because I know I want that back for myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's my thing.
Definitely, definitely. So what's next for we talked about that, we were talking about the album, but is there more that you're going to do with the album, any tours you're working to bring it on a certain platform? What's next
Abs-
for you?
Absolutely. That's pretty much the between interviews all day today. Raphael have me
Yeah, you're
going,
gonna have you
going,
book,
going. Big
right,
shout out to Raphael.
he
He
be
got me
working his
back to
butt.
back. Yeah, he got me back to back today. But in the process of that, we got like few minutes, and that's what's being talked about now. Touring, getting out, and really touching the people. Because that's what it's about for me. That's I really love being out in front and seeing people smile and bringing that love back. That's the thing. Definitely shooting for tours. Definitely shooting for just getting out and touching the communities.
Definitely. And we have two more questions for you, and then we're going to be all set with this. We have the
Okay,
number three in our name, Snubbed. Instead of the E, we put the three in front of it. And so, what is three words that best describe who you are as an individual?
man, a person with integrity. I would say integrity, love, and helpful.
Okay. And why
Yeah.
why would you pick the word integrity?
Well, just to know that I am who I am with you or without you being around.
Right.
If I got you, I got you. Nothing can take that from me. Nothing, no one can change my view of who I am and what I'm going to do. I'm that same person. So, my back is your back,
Right.
and that's just who I am, and sometimes that come back to hurt me. But I'm like what you just said earlier. I put out the atmosphere what I want to come back to me,
Right.
you
Right.
know. So even though it may hurt, I just know to move differently
Right.
next time.
Right.
What
Right.
you're gonna get what I got, out the gate, that's what you're gonna get. So that's just who I am.
Definitely. And the final question for you, that now being, the platform that you have taken, and I ask all my guests this, to many people that are watching, you're a role model. Whether or not you chose to say that you're an actual role model, someone is watching you and saying, no matter
Yeah,
what platform we are, if we hit the world platform, we are now as role models. What do you
absolutely.
say to that person that is wanting to get to a certain level like you? That is looking and saying, you know what, I've been watching him and I want to be like him.
I would definitely just say, hey, um, keep God first, or whoever your creator is. And then number two, most importantly, I would say you really have to have a passion for it
Mm,
because a lot of people can't take no's. Some people don't know how to, and I mean, and sometimes that's not a bad thing, but
right,
that comes with maturity and it comes with growth to understand why it was no, you know.
right,
And like you said earlier, it's not money what it proclaims to be right off the bat. It's
right.
not that. And so you really have to have a passion for it and just do all you can to bring notoriety to yourself, meaning you have to do a lot of those free gigs. You have to do what you got to do to get people to know who you are. And Frankie Beverly told me something a long time ago. He said, Levelle, you are a great guy. He said, I want you to do one thing for me and you will go far in this business. He said, I don't want you to focus on being famous. He said, I want you to focus on having a relationship with your fans. He said, because if you have a relationship with your fans, they will keep you working from day one until the time you retire. And he says, you've been out on the road with us for over 3 years, and you see how every show is just about sold out. Whether it's 17, 18, 20,000 people, it's sold out. And he said, that's because I have a relationship with the fans. I'm not trying to be famous, you know. And so for me, I just want people to know that, you know, just be you, you know, and try to touch people, because real is real, you know.
Yeah.
And it'll help you. It'll help you along the way.
Definitely. Well, Levelle, thank you so much for this interview. Well, conversation. I messed up already. See how this goes.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for coming on our platform. Any final words you want to give to the people that are watching and how they can reach you on social media?
Yeah, I first want to say thank you first for allowing me to be here with you at this moment. Then I want to tell everyone, if you would, please just follow me on all streaming platforms, as it's just Levelle BKC. That's Levelle BKC. That's Twitter, that's Facebook, Instagram. You know, you can find me on all socials right there, and go get that new Promise to Love.
Definitely. And anything that we can do over here at Snubb, we would definitely support you. Whatever you have going on, let your team know we got your back. And we appreciate you again, all right?
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You have a great day, okay?
You too.
All right, bye-bye.